We're here at La Mirada giving this little guy a actual run test. Let's see how it goes.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Wismec ACTIVE BOX. It's kind of a weird little twist on a vape. It's a Bluetooth speaker as well, so it's kind of designed for that sort of outdoor person. And let's dive in real quick and talk about some of the features and what makes it cool and what makes it not so cool in certain ways. So first things first, I worked with Wismec when this product was being developed. Now, I wasn't on this project, but I was, in the room. So the Wismec ACTIVE BOX, it is, first and foremost, it is a Bluetooth speaker. It's supposed to be crash resistant, waterproof, and all that. And then it just happens to vape. So this is something you clip on your bag or clip on your belt, go for a hike, go out and do some activities, which I've done and I'll show you in a minute. And while you're doing those activities, and you're like, I need a little bit of a vape, you can go in for a quick hit. Now this atomizer, the grandfather to this atomizer rather is the one I designed, and it was originally intended for nicotine salts. So they've went ahead and included the very small 1.3 ohm mouth-to-lung coil, and it is a mouth-to-lung coil, designed for nicotine salts, and that is really the ideal coil and atomizer for this setup. Because if you're running a 0.5 ohm or less, or even less than that now, but if you're running a really low ohm coil at 60 to 80 watts and you're chucking away, not only are you going to be vaping more often, but you're going to be draining the battery more quickly. Specifically, if you're out and about, you really want that to last you kind of all day. This is definitely an all day, scenario. We're going out to the range, we're going out to, like I said, to go hike, and you need this with you as a backup, for your vaping needs. So they've gone ahead and included, like I said, the 1.3 ohm coil for nicotine salts, but they've also included the, I believe it's the 0.5 ohm coil, the larger resistance one. And let me double check and make sure that's correct. See? I'm wrong already. It's the 0.2. As soon as I said 0.5, it didn't sound right. Yeah, the 0.2 ohm coil, and that one really does work great at 60 watts. And you have it in this box if you're that guy. Like I said, I think the intended version of this would be with a higher nicotine, such that you could take a few little sips, a few little hits, and then be good for 20-30 minutes, and then take a couple little hits and then be good for 20-30 minutes. Again, this was designed so that the user can really truly enjoy the activity that they're doing, and this would be a partner along with their activity, rather than having to carry extra juice and extra vapes, vape gear, batteries, etc. So there we go. Now, I do want to talk about a little bit of the, design aesthetics and the intention and all that sort of thing, but let's first do a Bluetooth pairing, because at the end of the day, it is a speaker. So looking down here, if we have our box, there we go. Now, this little USB cover here is pretty important. In my mind, I did have two other versions of this. I had an orange and a silver, and they both incurred some issues with the waterproof test. Okay, cut, stop. So I talked to Wismec, and they got back to me. I reached out to one of the uppers that I used to work with, and they responded with, they made an error. It is actually water resistant. Now what that means is they've got a little certificate on the website now. They've changed it. And it says IP65. Now, I is for air tightness, dust repellent and all that sort of stuff. 5 is your water level. 5 is resistance, meaning jets spraying onto the mod, totally fine. 6 and 7 is when it's submerged for a certain amount of time at a certain depth. Those are proofings. So not waterproof, it is water resistant. And please do watch the rest of the video because it did great in some of the other tests that I did. Plus it's informative, so enjoy. Cheers. looking forward to the Bluetooth pairing. Now, we're going to do a little bit of a head-to-head between the Wismec Active box and a Bluetooth box, because they're technically both the same thing, except this one doesn't vape. So let us first pair up our music selection, and then we will do our sample stuff. Just on my phone. Go ahead and pause that. Annoyance. So to do Bluetooth pairing, go into your Bluetooth menu like you do, press and hold the Bluetooth button. You get a tone.
Mode.
Of which case I'm going to search possible Bluetooth devices.
Bluetooth connecting. Please
There
wait.
we go. That's the word I wanted. So I had to push that twice, by the way.
Bluetooth connected successfully.
There we go. We should be in to go. Now, if we go back to our music and hit go. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, to lower the volume, I'm actually pressing and holding that little button. It's not a click up and click down. Which, for me, is really something that I would love to see, because, again, on our Bluetooth box, turning it on, there we go. When you go to raise and lower the volume, it's little clicks. So, it's kind of a, I don't know, very small little complaint on my end, obviously. It's not a huge deal breaker. It's just something you have to get used to. And if you do click that button, it skips the song. So the first few times I did it, of course, I just went click, 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 and then I was 3 songs down the road and realized my error. So that is just something you have to get used to. It's not a design flaw. It's just how they did it, all right? Just get used to it. The only real annoyance I personally have with their Bluetooth pairing system is that when the Bluetooth is turned on and the Bluetooth is turned off, it's the exact same noise. So to contrast that to my little box here, we heard it go boo-doo-doo, up, right? When I hold it to turn it off, boo-doo-doo. So it goes down. This one's the exact same. It's currently on, right? Okay, if I go to turn off the Bluetooth, listen very carefully. Exact same noise. So it's off, correct? Let's try it again. Let's turn it on. Same noise.
Bluetooth mode.
And then it lets you know that you're in the menu. So that does help knowing the difference, but if you just hear those tones, then you're like, wait, is it on or off?
Bluetooth connected successfully.
Now it paired on its own. Now that I've done it once, which is awesome. Ooh, but we're not playing music yet. Okay, what did I do wrong? Let's go back. Okay, so you saw there, just disconnected. Let's try it again. Press and hold.
Bluetooth mode.
Okay, so it did turn itself off there. Held this down again.
Bluetooth connected successfully.
Okay, so we should be clear to go. Let's make sure everything works still, just to confirm. And, aha.
Bluetooth mode.
Nope, try it again.
Bluetooth connected successfully.
Do I trust it? Oh, we're all good, it says connected. Going back. Same thing. Right, well, let's try unpairing it and repair it. Yep.
Bluetooth mode.
Let us do this. Turned off my Bluetooth. Turn on my Bluetooth.
Bluetooth connected successfully.
I'm gonna hit disconnect.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connecting. Please wait. Bluetooth connecting. Please wait.
Pair. Right? Now let's go ahead and click this again.
Bluetooth connected successfully.
Going back to our music selection. Bingo. Now that's kind of odd. When I repaired, I believe the volume went right back up, which isn't that bad, honestly, but kind of fun. Right, get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's do the exact same thing on this one here. So unpairing the current Bluetooth setting.
Disconnected. Bluetooth connecting. Please wait.
I swear I should be better at technology for my age. So let's turn this guy on with our tone. There we go. Now this does have a little blue light in here. I'm not sure if you can tell. There it is. to let me know that what I'm doing is in pairing mode. I would love to have seen something like that on this device, though I haven't seen it. And that actually could be, well, I don't know. Hard to find. So, it says we're connected. Let's go back to our music selection and...
There are 100 ways to love, 100 ways to start.
Again, the click up and down.
Nothing can hold you back when you choose to your heart.
So not bad.
There are
Not bad.
100 ways back home.
So as far as the speaker goes, we're dealing with something that's pretty good as it is. Now looking at the internals on this and how they designed it to be so rugged, it has a rubberized coating, excuse me, a rubberized case around the outside to absorb any shocks and bumps and scrapes and that sort of thing. And on the inside, if you look, you've got all your buttons and your USB port, reset button, up and down button, and fire button, all with all with waterproof sealing. Now, something else that's really cool, like I mentioned, the plastic body, and you can see these 4 screw points here. And what they've done is they've actually made this out of a one-piece molding with a cap portion. And the cap portion actually has the speaker in it. So for assembly reasons, it's actually really cool. This piece can come off. They can mount the speaker onto the back of that back plate, do all your wiring up, put a sealing around that edge, put it together, screw it together, and Bob's your uncle. That's it. So from a production standpoint, that's actually really not that bad. From a longevity standpoint, I did a drop test on this, and the drop test went awesome. The only thing I broke was my drip tip, and who cares, right? That was it. So this thing took a bash and a tumble, and it still kept kicking, and I was really impressed with that. The only potential negative to this type of design with that sealing point all the way around is if you damage only this side, you could slightly warp or move or bend or tweak or crack this lighter gauge plastic top covering, and you may be able to then let some water inside that way as well. But as it is, it looks pretty dang solid. Now, let's talk about a little bit of the cons, because I've tried mentioning a few of the pros. Well, first of all, let's do a little pros cons list, right? Pro number 1, internal battery. You don't have to carry spares. You don't have to really worry about it charging because the capacity is just fine. 2, when it comes to using the speaker on this battery, a lot of people were like, what the heck, you're going to be playing music and wasting all your vaping battery. Not so, guys, not so. I did a test on this where I played music constantly for 4 hours straight, at full volume, by the way, which makes a little difference, at full volume. .89 volts. I'll take a photo of that. The battery is fine. 4 hours of straight music at full volume. That's what you get. And it did fine. It only removed about 3.1 volts. Wow. Back that up. 0.31 volts was the actual answer there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it was actually really efficient, just using the tiniest amount of energy to play that speaker. And a lot of people, as you know, if you're playing music on your phone, it doesn't use that much battery. What does use all the battery is your screen. So if you're able to play music with the screen off, you'll also notice that your phone battery lasts forever. And again, when it comes to using the mouth-to-lung tip, I'm struggling today. When it comes to using the mouth-to-lung coil on this tank, and especially if you're using nic salts or at least a higher nicotine, the amount of actual vaping wattage that you're going to be using is incredibly low. It's something like between 8 and 12 volts. And using that for probably a period of about a half hour straight, when I was doing the disc golf, we only used, again, 0.2 volts. So this thing is incredibly efficient. I would not be worried at all about the battery life. So huge pro there. Another pro is its sort of build. I mean, I love the idea that it's a plastic body. Plastic flexes instead of breaks or damages, especially if you have a metal body and you do a crash test or something like that. It's a lot lighter weight. It deals with temperature a lot better. It is a little bit easier to seal plastic, again, because things move and you can actually melt the plastic portions together if you ever have to. I don't think they did that on this one, though. And yeah, the hand size is actually not that bad for, again, a Bluetooth speaker. This is a reasonably sized Bluetooth speaker. It's pretty small. And there is a comparison for you. Not to mention this also has the vaping gears inside. So generally speaking here, I'm a fan. I do like it. Now let's talk about some cons, because there are some cons, right? Con number one is the fitment of this little rubberized thingy. It moves around a little bit, and I don't mean that it moves around just because. I mean, like, if it's in your pocket or something, it kind of pulls a lip and rolls just a tiny bit too easily for me, which is not that big a deal, especially when it's new, but I guarantee as this gets old, the rubber is going to loosen up quite a bit. The second thing that's annoying about that is this is really important that you fill, the USB and reset plug with this little flippy seal. Now, if this moves back here, if I pull on that at all, I mean, obviously this is silly of a test, right? Nobody's going to be pulling on this, but just a slight movement here has actually opened up our little USB plug there. So any outside acting force onto this silicone cover could affect this the USB's positive lock. So that's kind of a little bit of a negative for me. Number two, and this is just an aesthetic thing that I'm annoyed about, the 510 is nowhere near the right size to match the size of the diameter of the tank itself. The other thing is, again, an annoyance, a personal annoyance. The up and down volumes being a push and hold versus a click, that's not what I'm used to with anything on my phone. It's a push, click, up, down, that sort of thing. Anytime you push and hold something, it's usually to change mode or whatever it is. So on this one, for me to push and hold for volume was a little bit weird, and it's a lot harder to fine-tune, your volume setting. Number two, on the negative of the Bluetooth side, would be that the boot up and boot up tone is the same. It's not that big a deal, because right afterwards it goes Bluetooth connecting. But if you're waiting for an audio cue to tell you what's going on, it's a little bit harder to sort out what's happening. I would say that the Bluetooth pairing setup could have been just a tiny bit easier, because as you saw, it will say Bluetooth speaker has been paired, and you go ahead and hit play on your music, and you get this little crackle from the speaker. And it's brief, it is brief, and then it goes right into repairing. But I've had that instance happen probably 4 out of 5 times every time I've tried to pair. Once I've paired and I start to have some issues, it's easy to fix by unpairing from your phone and then just starting the whole process over, and it pairs up immediately. So that's kind of a half and half, but really it's on the negative side. It doesn't seamlessly Bluetooth pair as well as I'd liked. Now, this is where I get into a con that is a potential fix. Wismec, if you're listening, let's assume this is my box. It's playing music, it's on my backpack or my disc golf bag or whatever it is. Drip tip, juice, everybody's there hanging out. Now, I put the backpack down, and my drip tip drags through the dirt, or gets dirt in it because it's an open sized hole, or something, because again, things that you put in your face typically don't go face first into the dirt, or ground, or grass, or water, or whatever it is. And something I think that would have been an absolutely super simple, seamless fix for this would have been a drip tip that has a little silicone cover over it. Had they made any sort of tip that had that kind of, when you bit it with your teeth, it kind of opens like that or something, and just allows you to get more vape out but less crap in, I think that would have been an awesome, awesome fix. And it's super cheap. Or to go even the complete opposite direction, kind of like how your USB plug is on this little dangle here, do something like that where it's a little silicone ring that you put underneath your drip tip. You put your drip tip in the mod, and then you have like a little cap thing that you can put over the point here is I'm just trying to avoid being rugged and then being rugged on the tank drip tip and all that stuff as well. The carabiner, when it clicks in just fine. And as long as whatever you're connecting it to has a tiny little ring like that, you're totally fine. But if it needs to go around something larger, you kind of have this like sort of weird thing where it doesn't hang. And that's okay, really. But it just sort of limits the motion of the carabiner. These are tiny little annoyances, guys. Don't take me so seriously. It was just something I noticed because what I wanted to do is I wanted to put the open-ended carabiner side towards the thing I was hooking it on so that when I went to take it off, I could easily kind of, you know, clip that and then use gravity to hold the thing I was clipping onto still and then pull the thing off. But by doing it opposite, I had to kind of do this weird like hold it down and then put, it was just slightly odd. It was just enough of a mental click to go, ooh, I'm gonna mention that. So yeah, outside of that, guys, this is a great little device, especially if you're gonna go take it out and about with you, if you're gonna go on long weekend days, you know, driving or what have you. Even on the bicycle. I hooked this to the little water bottle cage. It worked brilliantly. It stayed in its spot. It didn't get out in the way around my feet, so that was fun. Took it longboarding, put it on my back pocket or my back belt loop. I didn't actually film that one because I was afraid I was going to crash. I don't look that majestic on a board anymore. But yeah, as you saw, we went disc golfing and did everything else with this, and it did perform just fine. So honestly, at the end of the day, guys, this is just a really cool little Bluetooth speaker that also happens to vape. So if you're into that sort of thing, hit up Wismec's website. I think they actually have a retail store now. I'll put the link down below. And as always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please get in the comments. I loved your guys' interaction at the very first video. And I spent probably a good few hours going through and reading all of them and laughing to myself and smiling and responding and all that sort of thing. So thank you guys for all the love and support. Bye guys. See you next time. Hey guys, don't mind me. Okay, so I contacted Wismec, as I mentioned. They got back to me and they informed me that my lights are off. Let's try that again. Okay, cut. Okay, cut, stop. Cut, segue, sorry guys. Hey, just wanted to jump in here. It's been a couple days.